Hi, I'm Grandmaster Long. You've seen me in such fine quality, epic chemistry educational videos such as Dimensionalysis, Conversions, and Wigs. What do they have in common? And how do we do math and chemistry? Part 4. Alright. For the peeps out there, for the B fans, yeah, woo woo. Okay, so this idea about the video, guys, we're going to be looking at bridge notation. What is it? Why do we do it? And I'm going to show you some examples today. Okay, so in chapter 3, we've been talking about measurements in chemistry. And we got to a place where we talked about conversion, where we're changing from one unit to another. And that's a pretty important thing because in life, we have to be able to make changes from one unit to another. If you found 2,600 pennies in a jar in the attic, how many dollars do you have? That would be an example of converting from one unit to another. Or if I have 16 dozen eggs, how many eggs do I have? That would be another way of converting from dozen to the number of eggs that you have. So those are examples. And a lot of people, they'll do conversions in their head, and that's not really a big deal. But what if we're doing other things? So when we're working with conversions, there's always going to be a conversion factor that has to go. It's the number you use to change from one unit to another. So 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. 60 seconds is 1 minute. 60 minutes is an hour. Then 24 hours is a day, and so on and so forth. 100 pennies to the dollar. Okay? 1,000 meters to a kilometer. All those are conversion units that we'll use. Well, why do we bother with doing these conversions in the first place? Well, sometimes we're really not interested in working with the big name units like kilometers, for example. If it's easier for us to work with meters, and we're getting numbers only in kilometers, that's not very useful for us. We need to be able to change it to units that we can work with, okay? And that's where we get into something called the bridge notation. It's a way to multiply and divide several measurements together at the same time, okay? All that it is just a way that we make notation. So here's a quick example if we want to know how many seconds there are in one day. Okay? This is a picture that is in your notes, but I want to start out with something a little bit simpler for us. Okay? So for example, I would like to know how many seconds are there in 1 hour. Okay? So I'm going to start out with what's called the bridge notation. And what this is a way of putting numbers with units in a way, as I see, and make sure that this will fit. Okay. So I need to know the number of seconds, okay, in an hour. Well, here's the thing. What is bigger, 1 hour or 1 second? Okay. Well, let's erase this for a second. So 1 hour and 1 second, which is going to be bigger? The hour is the bigger one, right? It's the bigger number. Second is small. So if we're going from 1 hour to seconds, would we get a large number or a small number? Well, if we're going from hours to seconds like this, we're going to expect to see a large number. That hashtag represents number. Okay, well, this kind of sounds like I got to do some multiplying or dividing, but how will I know, as Whitney Houston once said? Well, that's why we're doing the bridge notation. Some people, they like it, some people, they don't, but I'm teaching it to you anyways. There's another way to look at this. It's called dimensionalysis. And like I said, we're going to work on some examples here, but we're going to start with something relatively small, okay, relatively short to get us started. So I have here, so I'm going to start out building my bridge. You'd say, but that looks like a plus sign. Well, we have to start somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say I have 1 hour, okay? Now, if I'm going from hours to seconds, but I don't know directly, okay, how can I go from hours to seconds? Ah, wait, I could go from hours to minutes, and then from minutes to seconds, right? Because everybody knows how many seconds there are in a minute. And everybody knows how many minutes there are in an hour because you clock watchers waiting for the end of the period. You know those conversion factors, right? So let's go with it. So for 1 hour, I know that I have to change it into 60 minutes to 1 hour. You'd say, wait a minute, are we multiplying or dividing? Well, let's just wait for a second. Hold on. So I'm building a bridge. I'm building a bridge. Well, wait, you got a blank spot here. You're right, you do have a blank spot. You can leave it blank. You can go ahead and put a happy face on there if you wish. We're leaving it blank. If you want to draw crosses on there, you can. If you want to draw a heart there, you can. Okay? Doesn't matter. So I know I've got 1 hour going to 60 minutes, and then from 60 minutes, I'm going into seconds. So I know that there are 60 seconds that are involved with this. Now I know that there's 60 seconds to 1 minute. Okay? So this is how I'm setting up the bridge notation. I know that in 1 hour, I'm going to have 60 minutes to 1 hour. And then in that, I'm going from minutes to seconds, which is what I have here. There's 60 seconds to 1 minute. Okay. You'd say, well, wait, how do I know which one goes up on the top and which one goes down? That's kind of confusing. That's a good question, okay? Because if somebody said to me, well, Mr. Canu, do you multiply or divide? I would say, you know, I don't know off the top of my head. Let me work that out on paper, and this is how I would work it out on paper so I have the answer. Now, let's watch this, okay? We multiply straight across, just like you do in algebra and fractions. Right. Like that. So what am I going to have? Well, I'm going to have is 3,600, okay? Because that's 60 times 1. That's 3,600. 6 times 6 is 36. You got 2 zeros, so you can add the 2 zeros to that. And everything here is 1 times 1. Remember, you can put a 1 here, it doesn't matter. But we have a 1 hour times minute, don't we? I'm multiplying straight across. This is also using the units as well. So I have 3,600 hour times minute times second. So this is what it's going to look like. And all I did was just put in the information here, multiply it out like this, and now the last part. The last part, I've got 3,600 hours times minutes times seconds divided by 1 hours times minutes. This is where now we can find out if we did this the right way, because units should be canceling out. Remember, anything over itself is 1, okay? 1 is the loneliest number. Hour divided by hour. Oh, hey, what do you know? That cancels out to become 1 is the loneliest number. Then you've got minutes. Oh, wait, the minute over minute. That also cancels out. Whoops, let me use the green here. That also cancels out. So now, hours are canceled out, the minutes are canceled out. What am I left with? Seconds. So, I went ahead and I multiplied it through, and I ended up getting 3,600 seconds in there. Wow. Okay. So the units canceled out. Right. Could you do another one? Happy to oblige. Not a problem. Let's see if I can do another one here for you. And let's go for the number of hours in 1 week. Okay? So what is bigger, 1 week or 1 hour? Well, 1 week is bigger, isn't it? It's big, and this is small. So if we're going, guys, if we're going from week to hours, is it going to be a large number, a huge number for you deplorables out there, or is it going to be a small number? Well, it's going to be a big number. It's going to be a big number. Okay? So, how do we go about this? We can set up the bridge notation again. And if you weren't writing along with this, you should be. Okay? Because we're going to go and work that out. So let's go ahead and let's work this out. So I'm going to draw that out, and I have 1 week. I'm going to abbreviate that as 1WK for 1 week. And how am I going to go from this? Well, I think I'm going to go from week to days and from days to hours, because we know our conversions. Again, you clock watchers, you're so over that. You're into it. Yeah, I can tell. So down here, we're leaving that a blank. Or you could put this big, giant Roman numeral 1 if you want. Pax Romana. Yeah. Okay. With that, let's go ahead and let's see what we can do. I know that in 1 week, there's going to be 7 days. So I'm going to go from week to days. So I know that there's 7 days to 1 week. Now, keep in mind, this is really important. 7 days to 1 week here. Okay? Because we're going to be canceling out units at the end. This is how we're going to know. Do I multiply or do I divide? So now I've got that. And the next thing is, I know that I'm going to have 24 hours to 1 day. Like so. Okay? Now, with that, ladies and gentlemen, how will I know? To quote Whitney, how will I know if these units cancel each other out? Let's check it. I could be wrong here. Yeah, right. Wrong. Okay. So we got week times days times hours. Okay? Over week times day. Now, compared to the first one here, where I multiplied it all out, I'm not going to do that here. I am going to say, hey, there's a week on top, there's a week on the bottom. We canceled the week sauce. Then we have days. Well, for day, now if it says day and days, if it's singular or plural, does it make a difference? How about no? No, it does not. They're the same unit. Cross that out. If you're ending up with the unit that you want, then you know you're doing it right. So I don't have to sit there and worry about, do I multiply? Do I divide? Do I turn my hair that's non-existent? I don't have to worry about that. I use this method, and the units cancel out, I'm good. So that means 24 times 7. Okay? Ooh, hey, what is 24 times 7? Where is my faithful calculator? Yes, here it is. Calculating time, 24 times 7 equals 168 hours. Okay? So I have 168 hours here. Okay? So there's a second example with you guys. Let's see if we can work on another one here. And okay, let's look at this one here. So this is a bridge notation, aka Dimensionalysis worksheet, that you're going to be working on with your partner. Okay? These are all the conversion factors you're going to need. Okay? So you're going to show your work doing bridge notation. Every number must have a unit. Work must be shown, draw boxes around your answers. That would be important. Okay? Let me check on my timing. Okay, I should be able to do this. So, any questions at this point? All right. So with this, now let's take a look and we'll see what we have here. Okay. How many inches are there in 88 millimeters? 1 inch is 25.4 millimeters. Okay. So I'm going to start out with millimeters, and I'm going to end in inches. Okay. So that's where we're going to start. This is where I want to end. If you don't know where you're starting and you don't know where you're ending, that's a problem, because then you're not able to solve the problem. Remember, analyzing the problem, that's the key thing. That's the skill you need. So let's work this one through with the famous bridge notation. So I'm going to go 88 millimeters, and I'm going to put in one bridge here. And I know that I got to change it to inches, so I'm going to have 1 inch is equal to 25.4 millimeters. Okay? Now I can go ahead, and here's the right way to do it. And if you notice, my millimeters, one's on top, one's on the bottom. Oh look, they cancel each other out very nicely. So I'm going to end up with 88, okay, inches, 88 divided by 25.4 inches, okay, which we're going to go ahead and divide that out. 88 divided by 25.4, and I have a 3.46 inches. And that is my final answer for this. Doing it the right way. Now, how about if I do it the wrong way? How do I know which to put on the top and which to put on the bottom? Okay. Let's go through it. Let's work it the second time so you see the right way to do it. Let's see if I do it the wrong way. How's that going to work out for me? I have 88 millimeters. Now, instead of, now I'm still using the same conversion because I handed that to you, right? So I'm looking at that and it's like, I don't know which one goes on the top and which one goes on the bottom. I'm kind of confused. And you know what? That happens, and that's okay because it's a learning process, right? This is not a question of I point at you and I laugh and, you know, no. This is a learning process. And that's what you guys need to understand. You're learners. Okay, so with that, I'm going to say, I'm going to put 25.4 millimeters over 1 inch. And remember, I can put a nice smiley face here. And I look at that and I multiply it across. So let's see, 88 times 25.4 equals, I get this number of 2,235.2. Here's we go. Millimeters times millimeters over inch. I just multiplied the units straight through that you guys see this. Now I did it wrong. I did it wrong, and I did that on purpose. Okay? How did you do this wrong? Look where my millimeters are compared to the inches. Worried about my hair. Okay? Look where your millimeters are. Look where your inches are. Okay? The unit that you're converting to should always be on the top. Okay? And if you notice, millimeters squared, millimeter times millimeter is millimeter squared. That doesn't make any sense. Per inch? The units are outrageous. This is not going to work. These should be canceling. See how these are canceling out and we're left with inches. That's the right way to do it. This is how I know. Okay, here I multiplied, here I divided. But how do I know whether to multiply or divide? Make sure your units cancel out. See how the millimeters